Ryan, where would I be without you? Thank you for being the brother I could have ever imagined being the best. Thank you. I love you. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Um, First and foremost, I want to apologize for the lack of the videos lately. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes, making a lot of moves, trying to get the content out for you. But this is something that was my dream to do since I was maybe 11, 12 years old. Yes, I did my nails for Christmas. They're red. I never did red before. I'm loving it so far. Trigger warning, there's a lot of abuse involved. There's a lot of name calling, a lot of touchy subject. So be warning you before you go ahead and start watching this video. If you're too sensitive or you're not comfortable with watching, do not watch this video, please. But I'm just sharing this story just because today is December 19th, meaning it's my 2-year anniversary escaping from my last domestic violence relationship. But I felt like there needed to be something more. So I decided I'm fully on like my story episode. So you really know who I am, where I'm from, and what shaped me to be who I am today. Before I start, I love you. And if it triggers you, just stop. Don't watch the video. This is just my story. Side note, if you see me signing and you see something, these are like my brand new tattoos. This is from Chase, Merch. And this is from Seth Merch. They both have a lot of meaning behind this. And by the end of this episode, you will understand why those two are planted. I hope you enjoy this episode. Okay, so where do I start? 2003, I was born by my amazing deaf parents and alongside with my half-brother, but he's wholeheartedly my best brother I've ever probably... Well, I know he's the best brother I will ever have. That's for sure. We're both 11 years apart. Yes, he's older than me. Me, I'm born deaf, but I can hear a little bit with this device right here. That's how I can hear you guys. Or I can hear myself talking. I feel like I'm having a whole lot of conversation with you now. Having a deaf parents was, unique. I know there's a lot of kids out there that have deaf parents as well, yes. But, just for me, it's special having, the same experience, you know? He's my biggest role model in life. He might not ever see this video, or he might not even acknowledge it. He might not even see it, or he might not even realize that I have this posted. But just having a brother like him is nothing compared in life can ever be having a brother that really cherishes you throughout the years and just love you unconditionally. So being born in deaf family, and well, I have the rest of my family's hearing. Maybe one or two out there is hard of hearing, deaf, depending on what their circumstances, situation it came from. I don't know. But, yeah. My dad's side family, they all learned sign. We have two babies in the family that is currently being exposed to sign language so that way they can have both language when they grow up. So that way I can communicate with them. The best part about having family with babies especially is just to see that growing phase where you can teach them two different complete languages that can coordinate with both at the same time. It's a really wonderful thing that we can connect together with. I mean, kudos to everyone who's trying. I mean, I learned 10 years with speech therapy. Well, no, maybe less than that, but I took years. I mean, years of speech classes. My hearing family friends will always help me to pronounce things right, even if I never get it right. That's rare for me to ever get it right. I would get mad if I always get it wrong, so I would just give up and just walk away. But I will try. I mean, as what I know, a lot of people say it's pretty good. I'm constantly talking so I can practice more every day. So my speech can be as the best it can be every day. But again, my parents placed me in a school that is a deaf school. And just having that opportunity to have classes, activities, challenges, programs, sports, all of it. It's nice to have like coaches, teachers, staff, everyone that knows sign. Yes, there's hearing, there's deaf, both workers that work at the school with the kids like us. I started wearing hearing aid at 2, maybe 2.5, and then ended up needing surgery to put the tubes in because it was imbalanced and I had ear infection all the time. So that's also what caused my hearing loss a little bit too. So after that, getting hearing aids, started speech classes immediately. Growing up, it was just a happy childhood. Always in New York for family vacations, weekends. I mean, if I don't have school that day, I'm always with family. In New York, like, I'm always with them. The old days. Maybe until maybe 6 or 7, 8, it was when my school started, going in bankrupt. So I knew I was not going to be able to graduate from the same school that my parents graduated from, the same area, same district, same school. It was nice to think second generation graduating at the same school, but unfortunately that was never able to happen. But I'm always going to, have that as my first home. My mom started working at my school when I was maybe 10, 11. She worked there for like 3 or 4 years before the school shut down. But I was one of the last 5, 6 students before it bankrupted and closed down in 2014. But from 1 to 10, it was just a happy life, a happy family, a happy home. But everything after that, things took a turn, and the next thing you know, I didn't even know who I was. Due to my deaf school closing down, I had to transfer schools. In 2014 of September, I was enrolled a school in Connecticut. It's called American School for the Deaf. It's actually the first deaf school in America that was founded. And it was nice to be a student there. But, I didn't get as much experience as I could have. But I'm not regretting it. I mean, it was a life journey to learn to where I get now, to get to who I am now. So I'm always going to be proud of where it brought me. And moving forward, I'm going to always try and be the better for myself. And always be the happiest for myself. And just to be in peace, just to be in good spirits, and just to be free, you know? So that's who I am now. I transferred schools, and it's in Connecticut, like I said again. So being an hour and a half away from my parents was tough, because my first school was like 3 to 5 minutes away from my home. So I'm always back and forth, home, school, home. So a big shift to home, school life, to like school and dormitory, and then home on the weekends. That was probably one of my hardest shifts. I've been 11. I'm a homebody. I like to be left alone. I like to chill. I just like to do things that's for me, not for other people. So, like, that was already hard for me to be away from my parents and my brother for that long. But there were no other deaf schools that would provide better for me at that timing. So, at 11 years old, a happy, wild life girl that shifted into like a depressive, confused, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? And the reason, because at 11 years old, I was molested by one of my family friends that is no longer around us. Legally, he's not allowed. So, being 11 and him being 25, at that time, I had no knowledge of inappropriate behaviors, nasty kind of stuff. I can't say those kind of stuff on YouTube because it goes against the community guidelines. But I'm going to try my best to try and interpret as much as I can. But being 11, clueless, negative, like I was innocent, like I thought it was fine at 11 years old. I didn't know it was wrong. But I was manipulated, I was controlled, I was convinced that it was okay to have that kind of activity with him. And it didn't stop once. Didn't stop 5 times. Didn't stop 30 times. It went on for 3 years. I was 13. Well, almost about to be 14. He was 27. At that time, I was getting tired. I was frustrated because I was confused, threatened with weapons. And you know, the hardest part is he was a family friend. So, like, he was around us all the time. He was the closest with my brother and my dad at the beginning, with my brother, and then at the end, he was with my dad at the most. But his name is Tucker Coburn. Yes, I'm saying his name because it happened more than 5 years ago now. This is hard. I'm gonna take a break. Sorry, I had to take a break. That was really hard. I never planned on making a video about this, and never planned on sharing my story, never planned on telling, but this is what I felt called to do, and I felt like I needed and wanted to share my story since today is an anniversary date and something that's really important and very personal to me, and I chose to share with you guys, and I hope that's okay. So, being 13, lost, confused, guideless, like, I had no guidance. Like, I didn't even know if I was doing anything right. That I even got involved in some stupid high school, middle school relationship. 2 of them, actually. They're nice people, yes, but they're better off friends with me. That's all I have to say. Another thing, I started, developing, because my body was developed early, at 9. So, like, I don't know why my body continued at 13, but it did. I mean, it's normal for all girls to grow through some weird phases of teenager years, whatever. But being 13, about to go into high school, depressed as fuck. Like, I didn't even know. I couldn't even look at the mirror and recognize myself anymore at that age, 13. And then, one day, I got threatened when it involved my rabbit that I used to have. I'll pull up a little picture up here to show you what my rabbit looked like. I might show you some files up here, like evidence, court date, whatever, just to show that, I went through with it. So, being limited and telling other people how you're feeling, because I was hushed. Like, I couldn't tell people. Like, it had to be a secret, or I'll be dead. Yeah, that's how serious it was. This person deaf as well. So, living in a deaf household is tough sometimes. But my mom was going through her own struggles that she couldn't really understand or support me in a way. Yes, me and my mom now are like this close. yeah, we talk about everything now because of that. We grew closer because of this. Um, but having a dad who isn't really a family man, he would rather partying and being friends and all that stuff, traveling. But during that time, I was traveling and going everywhere with him. Like, if I see a party, you'll see a picture of me there. Like, any party I went to, from that age to like 14, finally stopped going with dad. I just stayed home. Just didn't want to interact with other people at all. So I couldn't get both of my parents' attention at that time. And I did not know what was the right thing to do or what was the wrong thing to do. So one weekend, I met up with someone, and you know who you are, and thank you so much for pushing me, and thank you so much for being the initial supporter that could just help me through the whole process of telling someone. So sleeping over that person's place, I finally broke down because that person was explaining her experience, their experience with him, and that time I felt betrayed and confused because he was telling me at the time that there was no one else. So, the manipulation that was involved. So telling her, telling them, telling whoever that person is, she decided she's gonna put through and help me through, even if she went through that experience as well. But if it wasn't for her, none of that would happen. None of it. So, I reported it to a friend that was a police officer. They recommended me to call, file a report. So that was the next step I did. But the first thing I wanted to do was go home and tell Mom before I got anyone else involved, because I didn't feel right not telling Mom and go ahead with something that my mom would be upset. So the next hardest thing to do was to get home and face Mom. Initially, everything, she didn't believe or think I was telling the actual story of what happened, because it didn't seem too good to be true. It didn't sound right for him to act like that. It didn't come to her mind that he could have done something like that. But yeah, telling Mom was probably the most hardest thing. But nothing will ever compare to what I did next. I didn't tell Dad. I didn't tell him for the few weeks, actually. The reason behind that is because my grandfather, his dad, passed away, and we were just in the middle of grieving, and we didn't know what to do, just overwhelmed. Losing a parent from a child's perspective is really tough, because I'm never going to be prepared. I love my parents. They're the best thing that could ever happen to me. But not having my mom understand or consume that yet, it was really hard. But me and my mom's relationship was already rocky at that time anyways. Because of course being a teenager was full of hormones, emotions, feelings, whatever. I was just a crazy child. Like, I was emotional. Like, I had to have everything my way. Mind you, I was always a child that was satisfied or happy with whatever I received. Whether if that's family time, bonding time, the little time that we have together, the day that we go out, the little gift that makes my heart full, just seeing the smiles on my friends and family faces is just the most precious thing to me. And seeing that at the age of 13, everything just changed to negative. Just, I didn't care. If I died, I died. Life meant nothing to me at the age of 13. So, as you see that we were going through the grieving of my grandfather, we flew to Florida for a service for my grandfather, and the hardest thing that I ever had to do was sit there and act like nothing happened. But I was hurt on the inside because nobody else knew except Mom and that police officer friend and the friend that I had that helped me through all of this process. So 3 people knew. Well, 5. Me and him, he knew. But yeah. That was the toughest thing that I had to ever hide from my dad for a while, because I knew that was the best thing I could do for him, because he cared or will not be able to focus on a couple of things all at once. So being at 13, I don't know how or why I thought to wait, but after all the service, memorial, funeral happened, me and my dad were flying home, and on the plane, that was when I first spoke it to him, to my dad. The face of his went white, like white. It went, like there were no colors on his face. He couldn't talk. He couldn't even understand what I was trying to explain. After a couple of minutes, he started crying a little bit, and he instantly breathed. He instantly was my number 1 supporter in the whole situation through everything after that. We both cried on the plane together. He was, I don't know what exactly he was feeling, but he knew that, I was a child that was hurt. So after we landed, my dad was like, you know what? We're doing this. We're doing all of this. So after that, I finally called the cops. Mind you, my mom's sleeping upstairs. It was like 2:30, 3 in the morning. And just getting the threat and all that just made me just suddenly 2:30, 3 in the morning. I called up the friend and I was like, can you come over and help me, because I have no one that can help me. So she came over. We called the cops. They came. She signed a little bit for me because, it's hard to communicate sometimes, especially when you're overwhelmed. So we were explaining what's going on and everything. Mom woke up. She came down. She was mad. She was mad because I didn't tell her first thing. She was like, "Why is it at 3 in the morning? Why can't you do it during the day?" Well, I understand that now because being half asleep and having a police officer in your apartment is going to confuse you to a next level. So now understanding that, I should have done it during the day, but it's just that I was just done. I was just ready to, get the help I need and get the justice, So after the police leaving, filing all the reports, showing all the proofs, I didn't really have that much of evidence because throughout the 3 years he would force me to delete the conversations, delete the phone calls, delete any conversation that we have through online. Everything had to be deleted over the times a little bit. So basically I had a little bit to show. Okay, so this is the part where everything becomes a little foggy, and I'm gonna try my best to explain because, throughout the years, things start to fade a little bit. The memories start to fade, and through the trauma, so the response is to, the brain works in a weird way. We all know that. But after that timing, I was just not relieved, but glad that I told someone. Glad that it's starting something. So the next thing you know, he got arrested. That was a couple of days later. He got arrested at his work, I think. He got arrested at work. Or maybe he could be home, but called out. I don't remember, but he was either arrested at home or at work. Because, after the report I written, a news article came out. Mind you, during this time I was not allowed to publicly say it. It was me because it would say child of victim, not my name because I'm under the age of 18. So, basically, he got charged. I got contacted by state of Vermont. They were running the whole court case for me since I had no representative. I had no way to start except just a report. And, so here's the, weirdest thing. I was starting to be 14. It was January of... Holy crap. January 2017, I think. About 2016, 2017 is when I finally filed. But anyway, getting back to the point, finally got contacted by the state of Vermont, started the process, meeting, but before that, I imagined that I'm gonna walk away with him 20 years in prison, maximum penalty, the most punished out there. So, being almost 14 with no guidance, finally having someone, with a lawyer from the state of Vermont, having, victim advocate. Carol was someone who actually supported me throughout, the 2 years long trial. Well, not trial, but court. The case was long. It was because at the end, the COVID started, so it got pushed back. But like I said, I met with a lawyer and the victim advocate, my mom, me, and I think my dad. The first meeting, they asked, what do I expect from the court case? I was imagining 20 years maximum or more. I was thinking bail, nothing. That's what I imagined. My lawyer was like, that's a really good theory and a good concept of the length of punishment, yes. But we don't see that it'll actually happen. We might not be actually having 20 years, but we can try and push it for like 8 to 10 years. So it's like, okay, 8 to 10 years is okay. So throughout the few months, it was a constant emailing, back and forth, constantly on the video phone calls, like back and forth every week almost, just updating, just to make sure everything processing perfectly fine. But after that meeting that I had with the lawyer and the advocate, I did not have a set court date for maybe 1 whole year. And we finally moved on to something. And we had a couple court dates, maybe like 2 or 3. 2 or 3. I think 2 or 3. I'm not exactly sure. But going through all that trial court case situation, it was a really complicated experience for me, especially when I'm a teenager going through that phase where I'm learning, I'm experiencing emotions all over the place. So I didn't know what to feel. Nothing of that. I was a child that was lost. So after the second court date, I started realizing that it's not going to be 8 to 10 years. It's probably a lot less than that. And leading up to the final court, my dad, my brother, a couple of my friends, and my mom's friends, they came because that was the final day that we got the penalty. The decision sentencing. It was probably the most emotional day I've ever went through at the age of 16. Finally finished at the age of 16. The final decision was only 60 days in jail and 12 to 15 years probation and lifetime sexual offender on the list forever. But me being able to stand up for myself was something that I would never regret. I think that's probably one of my first biggest accomplishments that I probably ever did for myself that is recognizable. And after the court was finished, I was over to a room. I broke down. I was glad. It was all finished. It was done. I was done. I was fed up. I was tired. I was exhausted. So, sitting down with my family in that small room, just so happy, it's done with. I won the court case, closed it, left. So after winning that court case, at 16 years old, But what I can say, from 14 to 16 was probably my ugliest year, like my toughest year. I missed freshman year of high school, 2 months, just completely at home, my dad's house, and just sit in the living room and rewind the Conjuring movies, any exorcism, any horror movies, murder movies, documentaries, like anything that was gruesome. I would just sit there and laugh my ass off. So that's how much you can tell that it messed me up. So 2 months on a camping chair in the living room, just watching the movies over and over and over. During that 2 months was also the time where I cut off all the ties with Mom. I forbidding her to talk to me. To school, can't communicate with her. Only Dad or me. That's it. Because me and my mom went through the phase of, yeah. So after winning that, I went home and broke the news to Mom. She cried. But she was relieved that I was able to fight through and be a brave child enough to speak up. And me and my mom sat down for a few hours and just talked. We just talked. We talked about everything, and that's when everything became better for us. We were like closer, but we are like this now. Like we are this close. Yeah. Mom was probably the hardest person that took this news, but at the end, she was so proud. She was so happy that I was, able to move forward with that. So I thought life was gonna be better after that. No. My stress eating, depression, anxiety, PTSD, and my visions. Oh, let me tell you. It was insane. It was all over the place. I started birth control. I also started depression medicine, antidepressant. But that was probably a wrong move because it was a wrong time for me to combine. So I gained over 150 pounds over than what I was already at that age, Growing up, I was always, the weight child, chubby, bigger child. I mean, I'm fine with that myself, but it was hard. So at the age of 15, I was about 250, 275. So that was more than what I should be already at 15. So I stopped taking birth control, I stopped taking the medication, and then, the stress eating and the anxiety eating just made it worse. So then 16 is the year I met my first serious relationship, I guess you can say. My longest actually, too. So at 16, I met my ex-boyfriend. His name is Ty Looney. We met through another that's cool, interesting, especially with sports. We also met through like a mutual friend that I used to have. But, it was a deaf school in Framingham. Yeah. So, being a teen, I wanted to be in a relationship. I wanted to experience life, I thought it was going to be okay. Being a teenager is always going to be a complicated kind of life everyone will have. That's a guarantee. But, I'm sorry if I'm saying but and, a lot. It's just a tendency that I have when I'm talking about something important or personal. So, yeah, that's happening. He was 18, I was 16 when we were together. First together. So 4 months together. The first very 4 months was always not 4 months exact, but everyone when they first get into a relationship always gonna be the happiest moment, But if you're truly happy in a relationship, you should always have that moment, You should have intimacy with yourself in the relationship and just provide a lot of love, support. Just, a relationship should be, a love that comes together. Yeah. But unfortunately, I didn't have that relationship with him after that first 4 months. It was all just love bombing, and it was just toxic, kind of like trying to manipulate who he is, trying to convince me, trying to paint a picture of who he was. But everything changed after the first 4 months. The fifth, 6th month, we had like a little bicker here and there. I mean, it was normal, agreements and disagreements, that happens all the time. But leading up to 6 to 9 months together, the controlling kind of started. He was telling me what kind of friends I could have, what I could wear, what I could do with my hair, what I could wear makeup or not. But it was just very limited options that I could do. During the manipulation, 6 to 8, 9 months together, it was a lot of. Hold on. So you're probably noticing I'm touching the filming equipment. It's because I'm using my laptop to film, so it's dimming every few minutes. 6 to 9 months. It was just all bickering. The argument started because he was not happy with the choices I made or the traumas I had. He would blame it on me. I was the one who made the choice. So it was really hard because my trauma wasn't healed completely, because from court to when I started dating with him, it was maybe a month or 2 apart. So not mentally settled and ready for a relationship. So that was something that now looking back, okay. So yeah. Being with him was a little complicated after the first year together. The first year was pretty okay. There were no physical abuse involved. And that was until maybe 1 year and 2 months together. Okay, so I did this behind my mom's back, pretty much from everyone's back. But I will be always finding a way to see him on the weekends, renting out rooms so I can stay with him, because we live 2 hours away from each other. And it was not my best choice I did, but I learned. So after a while, he graduated from high school. Everything changed. His true colors started, being fully out, after a little while of being together, true color comes out. So this is why I love people differently, because I see how other people take advantage of it. So I love differently. I love deeply. Passionately. Like, love is probably my number one thing that I will always, have that connection. Love is always my favorite thing to receive and give. It's the best thing that anyone can receive and give other people. The happiness and the joy, just a little moment that you can have. The relationship that I had with him, I didn't have any of that. I didn't have a little good moment. It was just time together where we will constantly fight, where we will constantly talk bad about each other. One year and a half is when physical actually began. It started minor, slapping my back or pinching, pulling my hair behind if I'm not doing something that he doesn't like. But it was always something small in the beginning of the physical abuse. Later on, a couple of weeks, it started with pushing, coming up, threatening. It was just becoming too toxic for me to feel the actual love from anything. So I just turned my emotions off and just stayed in the relationship. So after that year and a half with him, the physical, verbal, emotionally, mentally, financially abused me months. He went through the homeless situation where he was hopping places to places. It was always energetically draining me, because I'm constantly on the phone with him, constantly on the phone 24/7. If I'm with friends, he will have to be on FaceTime. For an example, I have a best friend, well, forever. She will vouch for me. She will tell you how many nights, how many weeks of time that I missed with her for that 2 year relationship I had with him. Every sleepover, every time we spent, I had to be on my phone and on the phone FaceTime all the time, or texting. I can't talk with my best friend. My number one best friend my whole life. I didn't even have that chance to spend that 2 years time with her that much. And for today, I am just so grateful for her, because she's still in my life and my number one biggest supporter, that she will ever support me through everything. She sees how I grew up. She sees everything. So So not having my best friend was also the toughest thing that I had to experience. Because she was always the person I could go to for advices. Even if she's young, but she's very wise. She's very brilliant, and she always knows what's right, what to say. She knows how to help me in a unique way. Like, sorry, I'm getting a little sidetracked, but let's get back to the point. So, I missed my friendship with her and pretty much missed my entire junior and senior high school because COVID happened. I was sent home March of 2019. And then after that, I was living at home, going online. I was stuck on FaceTime with him during class. He couldn't even trust me. When I'm on Zoom, I'm meeting with my teachers, with my classmates. He didn't even want me to have my camera on or to even participate. Well, I had zero motivation as well that time. So, like, the influence was really negative. I missed maybe like 2 months worth of like separated of lessons. I missed like tons of assignments, homework, classes. I mean, like, I was this close to fail high school. This close. My senior summer, my junior entering senior summer, is when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do after high school because everything was all over the place. COVID happening, not in a healthy relationship, my parents going through the the separation, my dad getting married, into a toxic relationship. It was just all, emotion and thoughts all over the place. Just like how I'm trying to explain to you guys, I'm trying my best. So, getting back to the point, I had no friends that I could talk to. I had no one I could reach. So, as you can imagine, being a 16, 17 years old girl to stuck in her room with her computer and her phone, no friends, no one else to talk to except her mom, her dad, and a boyfriend at the time. That was it. Any friend that try to come through, he will mess our bridge up or even burn it before I can even fix it. So when I was leading up to my senior graduation, I had a senior trip coming up. And we all know, if he was already that controlling, he would tell me that I can't go. He did. He told me I couldn't go. I made up a lie to mom, told her not to sign up because I don't want to go and deal with, all boys. Because there were only 3 girls and maybe like 10, 15 boys that were graduating in my class. Yeah, there were only 2 of us that were girls. 3? 2? 3? I don't know. I don't remember. Almost 2 years ago. So I was not planning on to go to senior trip until that Sunday. I was getting ready to go to school to get ready for graduation, cause senior trip usually are taken in June or May, the end of the week, at the end of the month, or the beginning of June. Depending on where, when, how long, what kind of event activities we're doing. So Unfortunately, COVID happened, so we couldn't really fund a lot of money junior and senior year, both combined. We didn't really raise a lot of money because of COVID. A lot of kids were out, a lot of kids were sick. It was just all over the place. Our senior trip ended up being at one of our school property, which is Camp Isola Bella, which is ran by the school now. It's for hearing kids, deaf kids, Bethanies, really for everyone to come together and just camp for like a week for young kids, and then for older kids, it's 2 weeks. It's a camp based on education, learning, activities, groundbreaking, icebreaker games, swimming lessons, archery, all that kind of stuff. Wildlife, survival, kind of guidance, kind of. It was fun. I went once. Twice. But I left the second time earlier than the first time. But the Tina trip was hosted at the island. We were staying there for 5 nights, a whole week. I was planning not on going. I didn't sign the papers. The school knew that I was not planning to go. At this point, my mom and my boyfriend at the time, actually, they never really gotten along. My mom always had some weird feelings about him, and I was the child that was very stubborn, very mysterious, very I decide what I want to decide kind of kid. That's the thing that I finally let go and learned and healed now. So now I'm more of like free spirited, go with the flow. Whatever happened, happened, that kind of thing. That's me. Mom and my boyfriend at the time didn't get along. Not one bit. But mom tried. Mom tried for my sickness. He and my mom were constantly bicker. They constantly always have this weird tangle with each other. He eventually got kicked out, ended up moving in for a month of the May senior year of my 2021 May. He moved in. Mom was upset because I did it without her permission. But he stayed for like 3 weeks and a half until he got kicked out from my mom and my brother. Which I'm very, very glad that he got kicked out. Because my mom's best friend, my life was in danger that night before. The night before, he got the kick out notice from my brother that he had to show up and save us from. But he stayed with us for 3 weeks and a half. It was always bickering. Like, we both were always in my room, hiding from my mom, from no one else, always staying, just watching TV and just argue all the time, and just constantly bicker. He will constantly get mad because I don't have a certain thing clean, or he would get mad if I don't fold his clothes correctly. He would get mad if I don't do something he doesn't like. He got mad if I do something that he doesn't like. Like he doesn't like anything I do for him. After you know, the life-threatening situation was when he was in the kitchen taking a sharp object and threatened my mom and my mom's best friend. My aunt, she's a friendly, all because of a charger. He got mad because the iPad was dead, so he came down and started arguing with my mom because my mom didn't like how he didn't listen because mom told him to stay upstairs, do not come down and bother Chloe while she's sleeping. But he didn't listen. My mom didn't want us sleeping on the same bed, which I totally got it and I followed the rules, but he took it personal and was craving for, like, he wants everything his way. So that's why my mom and him bicker a lot, because mom sets some boundaries, some rules, some things that I have to follow under the roof of living with mom. But he didn't want to respect that. And I was blind at the time. So he came down, asking for the charger, arguing with my mom. Mom's best friend was working in the kitchen, doing some work. And, the next thing you know, he ran off in the kitchen, started arguing with, mom's friend. And all of a sudden, mom went in. I was still in the living room, confused, like what was actually going on. After that, he picked up and like threatened my mom and her friend. After that, we finally controlled, like finally helped him, like finally connect better. I don't know, but we had to find a way to calm him, because things were getting out of control. So I told my mom, just give him the charger and get him up there, just, Then the next following day, me, Dad, and him, we went somewhere, and then we came back home to my brother being at the house. And that was the day when my brother broke the news to him that he had to be out because he was not being safe, he was not being respectful. He was breaking every rule that my mom created. Like every rule that my mom made, he breaks it. He did not want to do anything that anyone else wants him to do. So after him getting kicked out, he took off, calling the police with a stranger, but that got resolved quickly. And then the next thing you know, I left with him and my dad and my brother. Because at the time, I didn't know what was the right thing to do, so I just left. Because everything was going crazy, chaotic. Yeah, it was just... The next day, he left. He finally moved to Maine, back to where he was with his family. I did not see him for another couple of weeks until maybe September, because during that time, me and my mom will constantly fight all the time because I told her when I become 18, I'm moving out. My mom was like, maybe you should hold on to that and try to figure out what you want, not what he wants. Trying to talk in some senses. Even my brother even tried to talk to me and see where I was standing because he wasn't sure if this was the right choice. But I made a decision and I was set on it. I was me and my mom was not in the best form of connection. So that's why I was like, I want to get out. I want to experience my own life. Taste, what life is like. What an independence feels like. Having responsibilities feels like. But that became negative in so many ways because September I was finally able to move into the apartment that his mom found for us. At first, it was supposed to be for him, but the finance became a little complicated, so I decided to, move in with him and try and take the relationship more, serious and to see if we can work on it. Because I love someone until they actually break me or give me a reason to not like them. But now I learned all of my boundaries and I know how to say no. I know how to say yes, maybe, hold on. I know how to say what I want to say. Not having to feel guilty about it anymore. Moving 4 hours plus away from my family and living like an hour and a half away from his family. So basically, I was in the middle of nowhere with no one I knew. September, it was all lovey and dovey, but love bombing included. The love bomb was a huge play part of my relationship throughout the 2 years. I didn't figure that out until recently. I'm going through a lot of like healing and unpacking phase. Yeah. That's why I'm like learning a lot and protecting my bubble, my energy. I just do what I want. September was not as physical as it was when it was starting to get end of September, entering November, when things became a little bit more physical, verbal, the boundary being crossed, pushing, punching, pulling, ripping, breaking things. And November is when my iPad, my phone, my laptop, my PC, everything at that point was shattered to pieces. I'll show up some pictures right here to tell you how bad it was damaged. But like November, starting that point, I had zero way to contact my parents, zero way contacting anyone. Literally no one heard anything from me. Like crickets were coming from what everyone was, waiting to hear something from me, knowing if something happened, nothing. And then I bought like prepaid phone, finally got in touch with my parents, and then that phone was broken like a few days later. And then I gave up. December came in. Sorry, October is when all of that happened. November is when I bought another phone, prepaid, and 2 weeks later, it was all over the place. Shattered. Destroyed. So, I had no phones. Only one iPad, which is registered to him. So if my mom or my dad calling, he will have to answer it first and then hand it to me. Not even letting me touch it before answering. I didn't even have time to check on social media, texting with friends. None of that was even happening. So many bridges and connections were destroyed. November 3rd week is when the physical was like, ooh, like the second or third week. Is when I finally see his mom getting physically attacked from the boyfriend at the time in front of me and his 7-year-old brother. And that is what started waking me up. Is this the type of life I want to live in? Is this what kind of relationship I want to be in? All because of something that he wasn't satisfied with. He was not satisfied with what his mom brought him. So, a wall was damaged from that attack. And then maybe the first week of December, I was mentally checked out from the relationship. I was done. I see no purpose of life, no purpose from the relationship, no purpose from family, no purpose from friends. So at that point, I was ready to give up. Life looked nothing but darkness for me. And during that time of trauma, my body was declining, like going down fast. It was like a health problem after another, after another, after another, after another. All because of the trauma that I experienced in the relationship. All the abuse, all the verbal, and the way how he controlled me. It was very consuming. So one night I was watching TV, mind you, a few days into December. We finally had a video phone installed. That is a relay service that we use to communicate and call people through, making appointments, ordering food, calling your hearing family members, friends, literally anyone. A store, business, whatever. But it will always relay with an interpreter. It's like a three-way communication. Me, the person on the other end, and the interpreter in between, translating the conversation. So finally having that installed, and then, we were setting up our new TV and everything. And I was helping him setting up his video phone. Everything was all good. I was watching YouTube. He was like doing something in our bedroom. A news article on YouTube came up. A deaf news network program was like having like some story top news. They usually sign it just like the news, but just a deaf person translating it in American Sign Language. It's called Daily Moth. They were a couple on the news that appeared. It was a deaf guy that murdered his girlfriend over a fight, and that was another situation that woke me up even more. And I was like, he is capable of hurting me because of the constant threat and the grabbing, slapping, punching, pulling, throwing around the room, breaking things, the wall being damaged, the door, the floor. It's like all, everything was just messy. I was not even able to work because the trust issues. Ooh. I wanted to work, but at the same time, I was scared because I know he will complain or accuse or whatever. So that I'm not taking the risk. So being with him for 4 months in the same home was kind of getting annoying at the point. So after seeing that news article, I was determined. I'm done. I'm done with the relationship. If he's gonna unalive me, I'm not even going to try and defend. I was just giving up at that point. Done. I was done. Like completely done. And then the next thing you know, 1 week later, he was arguing about something with his brother on the phone. And he took a knife and threatened him on the phone. And that's when I was in shock. I didn't know how to respond. I did not know how to approach. I did not know how to console the situation because it's just me, him, and that sharp object. Things can go to the left. So I had to make a quick choice to look at him and told him I missed what was going on, but I can try and help you if you put the sharp object down. Then I'll help you with it, whatever's going on. He put things down, and then the argument got heated. Things started ramping up. He took off in the room, slamming the door, hung up on him. The next thing, the guts were telling me, just hide all the sharp objects that you can find. So I grabbed all the things that I could find that he could harm me with and hit it. But that is something that I should not deal with in a relationship. That's not healthy. And I was blind and just tired. I was just fed up. I was giving up. Until after he came out, he pushed over the recliner that I was sitting on. And that was when, I almost lost my life from strangulation. I couldn't remember the next few hours because everything just felt numb and shocked that he will actually go that far and try to unalive me. I don't know what happened that night after that, but what I can say is that everything just became a blur until the very next day. We were not talking. He was under the influence, like heavily, so he was sleeping all day. So he was sleeping all day long. I called Mom the night before. Told Mom, finally, I need to get out. So she called my dad, couldn't come at like 2 in the morning. They couldn't come and pick me up at that timing because Dad had to work and Mom didn't have a car, so they couldn't really help me at the time, which I completely understand, but I was terrified for my life. After the phone conversation that I had with my mom, I deleted the history and everything so he wouldn't be suspicious the next day. But I didn't have to worry about that because the rest of the night I didn't even sleep. Okay, so he's deaf just like me, but he can hear a little bit better than I can. That's without hearing aid as well. So it was a little hard for me to make noises, but I just grabbed all the things that was important and valued to me. Like all of my baby boxes, my clothes that I might need at the time, my childhood Christmas stuff, my school stuff that I collected through the years and valued, Thai beans, teddy bears. I just took everything I could even fit in my dad's car. I tried to fit everything. I left some things behind. But as I was packing, I was checking constantly to make sure he's not awake. Packing up, Dad was like constantly checking on me in the morning, figuring out what's gonna happen. The next thing we know is the morning came and my dad contacted my brother and they both made a decision to go ahead and work. And then right after that, they meet and come all the way up to pick me up. Mind you, he's still sleeping because he's under the influence. While the day was going, he was still sleeping. He was still in the room, just completely knocked out. That helped with my processing of like actually ready to leave him. It's just hard because like in December, right before all of that strangulation happening, he got upset and ripped one of my only winter jacket just because he didn't want me to go and use the library. Yeah, just because I wanted to go to the library, just because I need a breather, just because I need a break from constantly bickering and fighting. He got mad, grabbing the jacket, and the next thing you know, I heard like a whip, like whole side was like open. And like, he got mad because he thought I was leaving to report on his abuse. Because the police department is like right there by the library. And I also had easy access to call if I was in the library. So he was like, he's not playing stupid. He slapped me, blocked the door, and that was probably my first time I ever became violent against someone in my own defense. I slapped him back because I was constantly tired of all the abuse he caused. So he was shocked when I slapped him right in the face. He lost his balance, he moved away. I took off. I completely took off. I just went to the library and just, I don't know why I came back, but I did. And we fought right after that. Leading up to the strangulation, every day everything was always physical, always bringing me on the wall and just breaking the window. The wall is like bent through. The door is like hanged off. Like a lot of things were damaged. So, all that happening, leading up to the day I was leaving him, I was constantly bawling my eyes. I was crying, I was shaking, I was terrified. Around 10 o'clock in the morning, I finally put all the things downstairs to the first door, ready to, leave. But that was where the area where we threw all the trash before we throw it out for the pickup day. So I was thinking, he's not gonna notice it. No, so I hit up all my boxes in that little alley, like in that hall, a little bit. I put everything I needed to bring home right there. And just went upstairs and just sat there for a couple hours, cleaning, just picking up things, just acting like nothing is happening. Maybe like 1:30 to 2 rolled up. He woke up, didn't notice a thing, went back straight to sleep. I finally got a call from Dad, finding out what's actually going on, finding out they're actually coming to pick me up. So he woke up around like 5:36, and I was like, how am I gonna, roll with the night, especially when Dad's on the way, So I decided to tell him, you know what, go back and rest. I'll cook up the dinner. I'll clean up the dishes. Everything's all clean. Just go and relax. He was like, okay. He went back straight to bed. And then dinner was ready. He woke up, he ate, and then he went back to bed. And then everything was just quiet for the rest of the day until maybe 9:15 p.m. My dad and my brother was arriving. He's still sleeping on the bed. I immediately saw the car from the window in the kitchen, saw that my dad's car was pulling in. The next thing you know, putting on my shoes, putting my jacket on, and taking off, closing that door that we had into the apartment. Locking that door because it gives me more time, Ran downstairs, open the door and tell him, hurry the fuck up and let's go. And just like constantly getting things in the car. The next thing my brother does is like, I hear him coming, so you might need to go to the car. So the next thing I ran, got into the car. Unfortunately, he caught up to me. We all thought he was ready to attack me, but no. He was just trying and hold me, but that was not working out for him. So as he was hugging me when I was sitting in the back seat, all of my things in the trunk, back seat with me, my brother wiped out his phone, ready to call 911, and my dad running towards him, and my brother's towards him too. So they both grabbed him out of the car, and he lost balance. My brother's on the phone, trying to figure out, slamming my door, trying to lock the door to make sure he doesn't, tackle on me. And then, he came up to my window, started crying that he wanted me to stay. But, I was just done. I wanted to get out. But as my brother was talking on the phone, telling him no, it's over, it's done with, she's done, she doesn't want to be with you, while still on the phone, still trying to control everything. And then, the next thing happened was him on the ground, hitting the gravel, because, wait, no, I'm wrong. As my brother and my dad grabbing for his control to get him out. My brother on one hand on the phone, one hand on his collar back. My dad both like trying to both him taking him out. And then dad was like letting go. My brother's like on the phone, like screaming him to the ground, like, "You're done. You're done." Talking to the police on the phone, dispatcher, like trying to like control everything. He got up. He was like crying by the window, like, no, please don't leave me. And then my brother was like, "No, it's done. You're done with her. It's finished. The relationship is finished. You're done. You hurt her too many times. I'm not even letting you to be with her no more. You're done." And then, he started crying more, running upstairs because my brother told him to please just come in. So he ran upstairs. The police arrived. The first thing, he was talking to my brother, me, and my dad, trying to figure out what's going on at the place. After talking for a while, I was just tired, exhausted, in a lot of pain. I have like 2 or 3 bruises, pictures I can show you, but I might have to blur it out because YouTube content policies are different, so I don't think I will be able to show that, but I will try. So I walked to the police car, writing up what was actually happening, and then I decided not to write up anything because I was ready to leave. I was ready to get out of that space, you know? So everything was done and done with. The police stayed for a little bit after me, dad, and my brother leaving. That night was probably the most rewarding thing I could ever given myself. Mind you, after all that happening, there were 3 things I forgot. My ID, my glasses, my graduation diploma. So I had to be in touch with him for another month. But after receiving it in the mail, I cut off all contact with him. Like, I blocked everything. After, finally closing, done. All of my emotions, mentality was at all times low. I spent Christmas and decided to move to Florida for the safest moment. I was living in fear for the next couple months because he has like the tendency to threaten and go after people. So I was afraid of that. Sorry, it's itchy. I have to clap it. But yes. I lost myself again. So after all of that growing up I had to do, was tiring, was exhausting, but I decided to, spend the whole semester in Rochester with my old friends, Well, we're not friends anymore. But that's another story to tell. But I got betrayed and lied to and manipulated in that friend group. 2 of them, I'm all good. But the rest, I wish them the best of life. You know, they deserve all the good things that comes in their way. Anything that they succeed in life, I'm always applauding and always, proud. Being kind and, respectful is all I am trying to do now. But that person is, that, friend group is completely not in, the picture. But I spent a semester there as not a student. That was probably the most chaotic couple of months I've gone through. Because that few months, I chose partying, drinking, smoking, crazy parties, clubbing, the basement party, college party, fraternity parties. You name it, I was there. I was always that friend was willing that risk of taking care of everyone. For an example, leading up to the semester that I finally became a student, everything's just after that. Freshman in college, not getting the right financial support from vocational rehab, just freshly out from a traumatic domestic violence relationship into just, partying, just not, thinking about what's the best for me. Into freshman year, the partying, the drinking, the smoking, the crazy nights, all night long, running down in tunnels, and just a lot of immature moments. Hey, I love having a kid at heart. I have a kid heart. I love being fooling around, playing around, teasing, wrestling. Yeah, I do all that. Yes. But it was just another level of toxic friendship. Leading up to the last 3 weeks, I took care of their dogs, drove them to places where they needed, worked for them throughout the year, earned a lot of money, not a lot, but I helped them pretty a lot. And, constantly being there. I would never regret, doing that because, that's just me. But unfortunately, that was taken advantage of. That was abused. That was used to play around, taken advantage of, manipulate. Mind you, that happened like a year ago. Yeah, a year ago. So after I withdrew, I stayed with a friend, and then leading up to almost the end of that semester, finally was able to, go back home. And ever since, I have been struggling. I was struggling emotionally, mentally, physically, and just overall energy was just drained. I had nothing left in me. Nothing. So the negative, impact was I was depressed. They were nice. I was crying, trying to figure out what I did wrong. And then, just trying to figure out what the next step. Because at that point, I felt like I tried everything. But no, I didn't. I didn't try everything. So during that timing, I was constantly on the bed, didn't even want to move, just numb. Just fucking numb. Like, I did not know what my emotions were until one day I woke up. I was like, you know what? It's time. You need to be higher vibrant. The highest you can possibly ever imagine yourself as you can. So that's how I end up as, having a channel, having you guys, having new friends that I'm building, connecting with, the team that I work with. It's just the last 8 months has been my darkest healing moment. That was definitely worth it. Because today, life to me means everything. My angels, earth angels, and spiritual angels, they're the people who get me through. I'm learning a lot about myself, learning what I like, what I don't like, what my boundaries, what I can handle, what I can't handle, what I can tolerate, what I can't tolerate, what I can accept, what I don't accept. And, let me tell you, I lost friends. I lost everyone. Only had my mom, my dad, my family. That's it. So, yeah. One day, that's when everything changed. I just took a huge trip to Texas. And it was, awakening kind of trip. It's a trip where I was, able to be present for every moment. Even if there were a lot of chaos in the beginning, like, money being stolen at the airport, all that happening, it's leading up to now. Everything about me, my spirits, my spirituality, my mentality, physically, emotionally, it's finally in the best shape it has ever been. I'm currently on a journey of weight loss. I'm currently 240 something. Well, that's a big step that I had to lose. Maybe 2 and 2.5 sizes. Which I am so proud of how much effort and diet that I had to change. Whew, that was really tough. A little update. I'm finally, getting doctors, audiologists, eye doctor, dentist, all that sorted out so I can finally be the best version of myself physically, because through, maybe 14 to now, I neglected my body. I neglected my health. Because I was always trying to be that person that helped everyone else but me. After the last 8 months, that changed. Now everything's for me. for my happiness, my joy in life, my peace, my calming times, my high good energy times. Because now I am able to recognize emotions, feelings, hormones. Like, I'm able to recognize that now. Like, spirituality and a lot of different things that I was able to bloom into is just something I never imagined. There's one thing that I would want to tell myself if I was 11, 12 years old. You fucking got it. You got the life you will always dream of. You are chasing your dreams. That's what I would tell my 11-year-old myself. You're gonna break through every breakage, every challenges, every obstacle, everything that I have been gone through. I'm doing it for her. I'm doing it for the 9-year-old girl. I'm doing it for 11 years old. I'm doing it for a 15-year-old man. This life is for me. And I can't imagine how far I'm already been. And I can't wait to see what life tastes for me. Because now, it's all because of you. All because of you. You believed in me. I was able to make this happen. Thank you. Before I close this video, if there's anyone struggling in domestic violence or abusive relationship or a toxic household, please reach out to someone that, yes, it's hard. Something that you might think it's impossible, but please find a way to reach, call, run to the neighbors, someone, and call for help. I will leave some information for domestic violence hotline if anyone needs it. Thank you for listening to my story. And mind you, everything I am asking you guys to not do anything, to reach out, none of that. Because I've already took the responsibility to take actions, and it's done with. And especially when I went through the court case on order of protection against my ex-boyfriend. It's still currently on. And, but all these years, I am finally me. I'm finally the Chloe that I know. That 4 years in me would not even imagine the life I'm living. Thank you. Laura, where would I even be without you? Thank you for all of the days you helped me through the hardest and the easiest day. I love you. Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for being the person that pushed me to the fullest I can be. I love you so much, Ashley. For the rest of my family, I would like to say thank you so much for all the years that you've given me, so many amazing opportunities, so many amazing experiences, and just overall a really good life for me. And thank you for pushing through everything I went through with the last couple of years. It might be the hardest, it might be rocky, but thank you for everything you do. I love you guys.